Hey, it's a Hubble Collector here, and in today's video we're taking a look at a very interesting card. This is kind of like the mailer type, which we're going to talk about in a minute, for Lieutenant Friedrich Galle. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. So when I said this is a mailer type, this would be folded up like so and sent out to people. It's basically like an invitation to the funeral, and it has a lot of the same information that like a death card would normally have. I don't think I've shown one on the channel before, but they're pretty neat. So starting at the top here, on February 1st, 1945, our beloved, valiant, loyal son, brother, and brother-in-law, Lieutenant Friedrich Galle, owner of the Iron Cross 2nd and 1st Class, the Panzer Assault Badge, the Wehrmacht Honor Clasp, and other awards, suffered the heroic death in an assault as an assault gun and battery leader. Now, really neat here, this is a very rare award, actually. I've never seen it on any other death cards that I have. How's it spelled there in German? The Ehrenbluffsponge, or the Ehrenbluffsponge. Basically, yeah, that's the honor roll class for the Army. Essentially, it's kind of a weird, like, center award for, like, bravery and stuff. So, it was only awarded, like, 4,500 times during the war, and it was on the list of awards from, Iron Cross 2nd Class to Knight's Cross. It falls above an Iron Cross 1st Class, but below the German Cross in Gold. So, very unusual award, don't see it very often, and apparently whoever owned this death card before me also thought so, because they drew this lovely pencil arrow right to it. Sometimes things people do confuse me. But yeah, interestingly enough, I was actually able to find a ton of information on Friedrich. So, he was born on April 18th, 1915 in Ballhausen, and while I couldn't find his casualty record, he is recorded as dying at an ice field by Olawa. Now, Icefield is an E-I-S-F-E-L-D, so I couldn't find that referring to a specific place, except for one in Thuringia. But the one in Thuringia, there's no place called Olawa nearby. So Olawa seems to potentially refer to Olawa, Poland. So, maybe a little bit lost in translation there. And given the fact that he was killed in February, maybe there was an icy field that he was, assaulting across with his assault gun. But yeah, pretty interesting regardless. Now, according to Traces of War, which I don't use this reference very often, but when it comes to, like, officers, highly decorated soldiers, they tend to have some pretty good information. But yeah, according to Traces of War, he was awarded the Iron Cross 2nd Class on February 8th, 1943, the Iron Cross 1st Class on November 1st, 1944, while a member of Artillery Regiment 173, 2nd Battery, and he was awarded the Honor Clasp on March 17th, 1944, in response to actions near Schaschkoff between January 14th and 16th. He was also apparently recommended for the German Cross in Gold all the way back in March of 1943, but this was rejected. Now, interestingly enough, the 173rd Artillery Regiment was basically completely destroyed in Sevastopol during May of 1944, and will later go on to be reestablished in Hungary in June. So pretty interesting stuff there. Moving to the bottom, he has torn us to pieces, but he will bind up our wounds, Hosea 6:1, and then his funeral will be on Eisleben, Lutherstadt on February 9th, 1945, at Andreas Kaischplatz 11, which I looked up this address, and oddly enough, there is a church there. Oddly enough, I say, when it's literally invitation to funeral. But the address shows up as St. Andreas Kirche, which is currently an evangelical church. I don't know if it was back then. But moving to the family down here, there's really interesting stuff here as well. On behalf of all relatives, Pastor Galle and Miss Hildegard Bondels, Elizabeth Heder, born Galle, and Gerhard Heder, a lieutenant and company Führer in the field. Now, Gerhard is particularly interesting. I could not find any information on Gerhard. However, I did find a reference that Gerhard might be a nickname for Eberhard, and there is actually an Eberhard Heder that I found, who was an SS officer, awarded the Knight's Cross on November 18th, 1944, while serving with SS Wiking. And he was a captain by this point, so not a lieutenant. However, given the state of mail in the German army late in the war, it's very possible his family just didn't know he got promoted. And unfortunately, I could not find his wife's name anywhere to confirm. So there's a decent amount of information on Eberhard, but I could not find any information on his wife. And unfortunately, I can't reach out to Eberhard to ask him if he's somehow related to Friedrich, because he passed away relatively recently, actually, just a few years ago. But there's a couple interviews with him online. It's kind of interesting. You should go check them out. Now, moving further down here, we have Magdalena Kissa, born Galle, and medical specialist Hala Kissa, who I could not really find anything on. Wilhelm Galle, who is a pioneer missing in the East. Also, unfortunately, cannot find anything on him, so as far as I can tell, he's still missing. And then Wolfgang Galle. But yeah, super interesting card. I normally don't get the chance to do that much of a deep dive into like a person and researching them and everything, but there's just really good information here, and because Friedrich was a higher rank, higher decorated, more information on him has just survived as a result. And yeah, really interesting. If you don't have any of these mailer cards in your collection, I'd recommend at least picking a few up. These full format cards, even if they don't necessarily have like the pictures, the cool backings that we're used to, they're still really good to research. But yeah, I know it's a bit of a longer death card video than normal, but I hope you guys liked it. Please leave a comment down below. Love hearing from you guys. Thank you all for watching. Happy collecting, and I'll see you all again very soon.